Hello everyone, welcome to today's class, and our title today is Gastro Squatters. Let's look at language focus. 1번. They are threatening to sue anybody who tries to remove them from the building without a court order. Okay, so as you can see, I have highlighted threatening to sue, or threatening to. So, when do we use threaten to? Well, we use threaten to describe a situation where somebody warns that they will do something harmful or unwanted if somebody does not cooperate with them. So threaten to, 뭐뭐를 하겠다고 협박하다. 상대방이 협조를 안 했을 시. So threaten to. If we have a look at our first example here, the purchasing agent threatened to find a new supplier if we didn't reduce our prices. 구매 담당자는 제품 가격을 내리지 않을 시 새로운 공급자를 찾겠다고 협박했다. So threaten to, as we can see, is, I believe, 협박했다. This down a bit so you don't get confused. Okay, so you can be arrested if you threaten to hit somebody. 누군가를 폭행하려 협박하면 체포당할 수 있다. So even though you don't hit somebody, you can still be arrested if you threaten to hit somebody. Alright, now let's look at 2번. Okay, the squatters at the York and Albany expect that it will take a long and expensive lawsuit to get them out of the building. Okay, so we've highlighted expect that. So use expect that to describe what somebody predicts or anticipates. Note that expect does not have to refer to a positive thing, unlike look forward to. So look forward to is more 기대되다. Expect is more, I believe, somewhat around the lines of like 예상하다. So expect that 누군가가 무언가를 예측하거나 예상할 때 쓰는다. So look forward to처럼 꼭 긍정적인 표현일 때만 쓰지 않는다. As I said, look forward to is more 기대되다, and in this situation, expect that is more 예측하다 or 예상하다. So if we look here, unfortunately, we expect that the value of our property will decrease next year. 안타깝게도 우리의 물건, 건물, whatever, property, whatever they mean in this situation, it could be 물건, it could be more than likely 건물, 가지는 내년 하락할 거라고 예측한다. So I'm pretty sure in this situation they mean like a house, right? Rather than something that you have. And I expect that the client will respond sometime next week. Alright, so 의뢰인께서 다음 주쯤 응답할 거라고 예상하고 있습니다. The client will respond sometime next week. Alright, now let's look at the language focus quiz. 1번. Threatened to go on strike recently. So remember threaten to, we come back up here. Threaten to 뭐뭐를 하겠다고 협박하다. Okay? So, threatened to go on strike recently. So let's say the whole company threatened to go on strike recently. So 회사 전 직원들은 최근에 파업을 하겠다고 협박했다. Or 2번, you should never threaten to if you don't mean it. Let's say you should never threaten to quit your job, not John, if you don't mean it. 진심이 아니라면 일을 그만두겠다는 협박은 절대 해서는 안 된다. So threaten to. Alright. 3번. I expect that will this year. Remember, expect that was more like 예상하다, 예측하다. So I expect she will, let's say, become a manager this year. 저는 그녀가 올해 매니저가 될 거라고 예상하다. Or I expect that will be very difficult. I don't know. This journey will be very difficult. 저는 이 예정이 매우 어려울 거라고 예상하고 있습니다. Okay. Now let's move on to further discussion. 1번. What qualities make you respect someone as a leader? Give examples. 당신은 리더의 어떤 모습을 보고 존경을 합니까? 예를 들어주세요. So a person who, in my opinion, is a good leader is a person who is not a person who bosses, actually, more a person who guides. So a boss is a person who tells people what to do. A leader is a person who takes you to that destination rather than pushes you to that destination, in my opinion. Sometimes leaders have to be a bit bossy. Sometimes leaders can't always be positive. Sometimes they need to push some of their workers to get the most out of them. So I understand that sometimes a leader can be considered very rough, very strong, somewhat bad-tempered. However, I don't think that applies for all situations. I think that it just depends on the situation. I think when it comes to being a chef, that you are put under a lot of pressure as to perform, especially if you are as well known as Gordon Ramsay, and that you have all these Michelin star restaurants and you have to maintain the Michelin star. I can imagine that it would be a very difficult time to be a calm leader. However, there are many people who I've met who have been under pressure and still manage to keep their cool. So I respect that kind of situation in a leader when they're calm, cool, and instead of pushing people, they are more guiding people along the way. 2번. Have you heard of any problems with squatters in your country? Give details. 당신의 나라에서 불법 거주자들 문제에 대해 들어본 적이 있습니까? 자세히 설명해 주세요. In Korea, I haven't heard of any situations, but in Australia, it's not uncommon either. There are a lot of people who squat in other people's houses. There are situations where sometimes they originally rent out the apartment, then they stop paying rent, and then there's some legal loophole where they don't have to pay the certain amount of rent or they won't move out, and therefore they become more squatters than renters. It's not uncommon that to hear about squatters in Australia. To be honest with you, it's not uncommon to hear about a lot of squatters around the world. There are many. They've made very famous in America. The scary ones, as I mentioned, are the ones who don't tell you that they're there. So they'll either live in your attic or somewhere where you don't know where they are, like in a secret room. I don't know. In the basement, who knows? But yes, it's a scary situation when squatters are living on your residence. Anyway, that wraps it up for today's class, and I'll see you on the next class.
Foul mouth.
Foul mouth.
No nonsense.
No nonsense.
Squatter.
squatter,
gastropub,
gastropub,
exploit,
exploit,
restraint,
restraint,